I'm not particularly interested in the price. I'm more particularly interested in the payment. So now it's a $450 buy. Let's go $400,000 value. All right, now you're feeling sad and one of your eyes is all f***ed up. Okay, and we know that interest rates to home values are inversely related. Do you think it would be fair to say if rates dropped to 3% today, they went from 8% to 3%, a bunch of people would jump into the market, like I described, be crawling over, ripping each other's eyes out. Everything sells. Everything that could be sold would sell. Would that be fair to say? So we know that if rates go down, prices would shoot up. It's going to compress the market. So we understand it's inverse relationship. So in the event that this house was worth $400,000, what interest rate do you think would cause that to happen? When we went from 4 to 7 from April to October last year, and we lost 10%. So we could say, I'll do this math here. So 10% drop in value with a 3% increase in your interest rate. So for every 1%, so let's call it a 1 to 3 ratio, right? So for every 1% your interest rate goes up, your home drops by 3% in value. And this stands for over 10%. If we went 405, that'd be 45. If we dropped another 10% here, yeah, we'd be looking at about 11, 12, 13% interest rates, okay? So Jason's sad because he's lost $45,000. But that means that this is an 11% interest rate. So would you rather buy your house for $450, put $40,000 down at 8% and have a $3,300 a month payment? Or Jason, would you rather pay $45,000 less, put $40,000 down and have a monthly payment that is exactly $500 a month higher? Now, are you still mad that your house isn't worth what you paid for it? You plan on selling this thing anytime soon? Is it a pretty good deal? Like, do we see prices or do we see payments when we go through a car dealership? That's all that matters. It's the payment. I'm not particularly interested in the price. I'm more particularly interested in the payment. Everyone's real obsessed with the price when interest rates were low for a decade, right? But now, would you pay $500,000 for this house if it had a 2% VA assumable loan? Let's just do it. 500, 1, 2, 3, 2.25. Okay, so now Jason's found an assumable loan, $500,000, still 40 down, but now he's 2.25. Payment's $2,233. So, would you rather pay $500,000, have a $2,200 payment, $450 for a $3,370, or $405 for a $3,870? Okay, now this is monkey math, but we've seen this. This actually proved itself this past year, right? For every 1% we go, we'll lose about 3.3%. That can be an interesting thing to talk to our clients about, because when the rates went from 7 and now they're at 8% today, did we lose some value? What does that do for your buyers, right? You can visually see, hey, low interest rate, high value, low interest rate, high value. You can see high interest rate, low value, and it still doesn't equate. Okay, so higher payment we figured out is gonna be okay because you get the tax deductions. We know a monthly payment, a big chunk of that knocks off your tax bill. And then a small chunk of that monthly payment actually pays down what you owe. So at some point you will own the thing outright, other than the freaking government taking your tax dollars. So you pay it off in 30 years, but you don't pay your property taxes, they take it away. So you'll never have zero cost, right? Maintenance, etc. We could get it out, oh, well, in 20 years, I'm gonna need a roof, so I need to save $83 a month for that. And in 10 years, the heating and air is gonna go out, so I say $55.27 for that. Like, you could go ad nauseum and get nowhere, right? But we know that the higher payment thing's kind of dealt with. Prop values drop, is that okay? Would you be okay with the property values dropping a little bit if you had a good payment locked in? Especially good payment compared to what the new payment would be? Knowing that when property values drop, that means rates have jumped. Because we know the second rates go to 3%, there will be nothing to sell, and it'll be multiple offers and sell for 100 over. And then you could run that scenario with your client. Let's just say that we get to 3%. Hey bro, at 450 with the old rates, it was here. So go ahead and pay 500 and save yourself $1,137 a month. Is that okay? You're gonna pay a little more, I'm gonna make a little more, but your payment's gonna be way more affordable than it would have been yesterday. So the higher payment, we dealt with that, right? Drop in property values, we dealt with that. Drop in interest rates, that's easy, you can refinance. So Jason, what is the scenario? We have to be able to think of, there's gotta be one, right? There's gotta be a couple. Inflation, okay. Lose a job. Does inflation fuck with you as a renter? Okay, so that's either way. Are you fucked if you lose your job and you're renting? How about relo if you're renting? Probably okay. You just move out, right? So relo could be one. I would say relo when you can't rent it for the payment. 1,800 square foot home, probably gonna be about $2,700, $2,800, $2,900 a month. So you could lose money in that scenario. So a relo coupled with a decrease in home values because interest rates are higher. I wish I didn't buy that house. Okay, we found one. So as long as this scenario doesn't happen, where you have to relocate, interest rates jump, and you're screwed. But even then, if it's a work relocation companies actually cover that for you to make sure that you're not economically hurt. So if you were to relocate for work, not involved with an actual relocation company, so you just up and left the area, that would be the one scenario where Jason will regret buying a home. So Jason, as long as this doesn't happen, do you think it's fair to say it's okay time to buy a house? And all we're doing is being people. I'm not selling Jason anything. I'm being honest with him. Like, okay, let's talk it out, dude. Like, what's the worst that could happen, right? What's your worst fear? How realistic is that? If interest rates go up, this is what would happen. If interest rates go down, this is what would happen. If home values dump, this is what would happen. And then it's like, okay, then now they have enough data to actually make a decision. And this is the same type of conversations we should be having with prospects, leads, when we're talking to them on the phone. Just be real. If I said, Jason doesn't know what he's talking about, I'm just gonna find someone who wants to buy a home, right? That's not being a good salesperson or a good real estate agent, because Jason doesn't have enough information to make a decision. Jason's relying on someone else. That's why we get paid, to help him make a decision. Maybe his decision is, I get it, like what you say makes sense, but I still don't want a higher payment. I don't care if I get it all back in taxes. Mentally for me, that's beyond my comprehension, right? And there's people like that, and that's fair. Okay, I get it. We are a nation of renters. There's 60% renters, I think, in the US. 60% of people believe whatever they want to believe or don't believe whatever is true, and that's how they view it, and that's fine. Don't waste a bunch of time with them, but I think it's fair to give everyone enough information to make a legit decision, because some people say, you know what, that makes sense. Yeah, right? The guy that said, now's not a good time to buy 3 years ago is hurting right now. Maybe now they can't. Because like you said, maybe now they only afford $350 and they could afford $500 before. So when they say now's not a good time to buy, that's not like a, okay, you're an idiot, or yes it is. Could you do that? Like, in what, let's just work with me. You got 5 minutes, in what scenario, right? This is best done in person so you can do the numbers. People don't believe you if you're just talking. Like, let's get together and I would love to just run through some scenarios. If you got half an hour, I'll buy you lunch. And then, right, we always want to follow a logical progression with this stuff. Because like, quippy sales tactics don't work with real objections. That's a real objection, right? And Jason was certain, once I showed him the difference in payments, I would imagine there's a little certainty in your head, say, I knew it. There's no fucking way I'm gonna go from $2,500 to $3,300 a month. That's stupid. Until we go, actually it's a net zero after you write off your taxes. Assuming you earn income. Maybe someone is on, some sort of federal subsidy and doesn't pay taxes. That could be, right, a scenario where they're like, no, I don't pay taxes. Like, well, good for you.